Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel...
Yeah, you are fucking on. You throw your back, huh?
Oh, yeah. Do have my back, you know.
Getting your teeth clapped.
Yeah, exactly. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, we're live. Okay.
Get
we're
into,
not live, but
go
we
ahead and
still-
get into. He threw out his back yesterday, or
man.
2 days ago, or something.
I am
You explain it.
26 and I feel 50. I pulled my back working out. I don't know how. I really don't. I might have overexerted myself. I do think maybe me not stretching might have played a huge part in it.
Yeah. So you were going to ATT.
Yeah, I was going to ATT and I did a Muay Thai class, I did a boxing class, and I felt good. I was like, all right, cool. Let me just get some extra cardio in. And I like doing the air dye machine or the skiing machine, those are really good. And then I was going to hit the sauna, and that's what I wound up doing. And I did 15 max. I want to say like 10 minutes total, but maybe 15 if we're going on like the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But dude, oh my God, it hurts to breathe a little bit. When I inhale hard, I'm just like, oh.
And he has like these like patterns on his back. Like if you got like hit in the face, you have like slight blood bruising. That's like the best way I can describe it. And it's like this like diagonal, like almost like a tic-tac-toe that you just keep drawing the lines all the way down. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's very spot on. A weird tic-tac-toe my body is doing on my back.
Yeah.
And it fucking hurts. And it sucks.
And it's so funny because he's like, bro, you're 30, bro. I just turned 27. And he's like, bro, you're 30. The next day he's like, my back.
Yeah, I was like, I pulled a muscle in my back. My back. Oh,
and
man.
I remember I was looking for like the GIF, like on iMessage for Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 when he's like, my back, my back. That's what was like the first thing I thought of,
That's
but they don't have it
so
on there.
relatable, actually. Oh my God.
He like tries to, he's like,
Yeah, I feel bad for laughing at him in the movie theater now during that. Because I was like, had I known this would be as painful.
I mean,
Ow.
dude, throwing out your back is no fucking joke. Because when I worked in construction, I was like 23, I think, and it was like my first time like using a sledgehammer for like a long duration of time, not just being like, boom, you break it and then.
Oh, that's so cool though, because it's kind of like that like in John Wick and the Punisher when they're beating the shit out of the concrete.
Yeah, that's what I had to do.
You felt like a man's man.
That's what I had to do. Because like we were separating the I forget what they're called now, but it's basically this huge wall. They're essentially walls because they're gonna get lifted up to be posted, and it's just like this big, surrounding area. You have to break off chunks that like the concrete like overformed, or you need it to match. So when it goes up properly, like this is the final task. So I'm going through, I think it was 28 of them. I'm going through all of them all day, just boom, boom. And I'm using, like I said, I'm using it for like an 8-hour day.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. And by the end of the day, I was like, oh my God, my back is like, it was like progressively stiffening up. And I remember like the last break, I like laid flat because my back was hurting so bad. And it was probably the worst thing I possibly could have done because my back was fucked after that. It was so fucked. And thankfully, at the very last second, I told my, I forget what they're called now, but it's like essentially the lead. I told him, I was like, hey, my back is starting to hurt. And thank God I told somebody because I didn't show up to work for like a week and a half. Because, dude, when I woke up the next day, I was like, as soon as I moved, I was like, ugh, ugh. I was like, oh my God. And I had to like roll out of bed, like go up in like this super stiff motion, get into shower, and just put it as hot as I could to just try to loosen everything up. And dude, it was so bad. It was really bad. I don't wish back pain on my worst enemy, bro. It's so bad.
I'm very sympathetic now. I feel like
And that was me at 23. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, I mean, I've always been pretty good at like trying to keep my back straight when we did squats or deadlifts or something. I always try to stretch. But like I said, that was my first time consecutively using it. Because like when you're using it for that long of time, like a sledgehammer, as time goes on, you're just going to get, you're going to get a little sloppy. You're going to get tired. And I really should have just been like, hey, man, I need a break from this. Can you get someone else to do it? And instead, I was like, this is fun. You know what I mean? It was, because it was fun. Like
it is.
You're smashing rock and it goes flying everywhere.
And it is a really good workout.
Oh, yeah, it was a great workout. But it just hurt my fucking back in the worst way possible.
Fun fact, I think it's Ernie Shavers, a boxer, did one of his he always had this like punch, like the type of punching power where it's just a fucking thud each time.
Okay.
And his biggest weapon was cutting wood with the axe. And that's very similar.
Something I would like.
It's very similar.
Yeah, like an Age of Ultron with those.
Yeah, dude, I just want to be able to do that shit like Cap. Honestly,
he rips
the way he's just man. You know,
that's probably the most memorable scene from that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I remember that even. I just rewatched it, but every time I think about that movie, that's what I think of.
I want to rewatch the first Avenger because I was rewatching the trailer that got the trailer that got me hyped, and they have in the trailer they have a song from one of my favorite bands, Tool, in it. And in retrospect, looking back on it, I'm like, that's actually crazy that they got that. And it fits so well. But yeah, dude, so I'm planning on rewatching that very, very soon. But since we're on that topic, we decided to give each other a bit of homework, in all honesty.
Yeah.
We are constantly telling each other to watch something. So I figured let's just make like a top 5 list of things that we want each other to see, just to gauge our opinions on it. There's a couple things I already have a Blu-ray collection, and I have it ready here. So I will slowly start showing you guys what I want him to watch and why. He has it. He has a list on his phone. So if you want to take it off,
so the first one is Edge of Tomorrow
with Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, right?
Yeah, and this movie, like, I think was like super weird about it because I didn't watch it in theaters. I watched it like it was like on HBO or some kind of rerun. And I remember like the build up to it and being like, what the fuck even is that movie? Like, it was so weird. But then they relaunched it like when they were really trying to re-promote it because they were like, I don't think the audience understood what the movie was really about.
You know that they renamed it, the movie.
No, it was the next title was called Live Die or it was like Live Die Repeat.
Yeah,
it's not the title of the movie. It's just like the slogan essentially. That's what they switched it to. So like if you buy a Blu-ray and like a paper slip on it, the paper slip will say Live Die Repeat, but on the actual cover art it will say Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's actually a really good fucking movie. It's really action packed and like.
What did you enjoy about it the most?
Just the premise. It has like it's a premise and it's also like kind of like a mystery kind of like an unexpected mystery movie.
Okay,
I guess is the best way to explain it because you're like you think it's built up to be something and it ends up being something else and I don't know, it was just really good action honestly, and it was like basically it was like what's the most creative ways we can kill Tom Cruise consistently and constantly. Yeah, and like that's the whole premise of the movie, and it's a good movie.
So is this a movie that Tom Cruise haters can watch and enjoy?
Yes, I think so. If you don't like Tom Cruise, you're gonna like it because
you'd be like, yeah, I like the way he
dies in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, I've seen some of. I think I saw like a clip, a TikTok clip of him just dying. You know those edits and stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's insane, actually. Like, there's points where he doesn't even make it to the war.
No, he doesn't. Right? He dies in like the training room.
Yeah, exactly.
So because like in this world, like you need to be elite. You know what I mean?
Which
so,
makes
like,
sense.
Blunt's character will
literally kill him.
Right? Yeah, Blunt's character will literally kill him in the training room. She's like, if you can't survive this room, you're not going to survive out there. That's like the whole mentality, essentially.
I mean, that's
so he won't even make it to the battlefield sometimes. But like just seeing his natural progression and like you think he's a badass, and then he gets on the field, you're like, oh, this is a different type of world. Like it's like that.
Yeah. Okay, but, that's cool. I like that. I'll give you my number 5. Child's Play, and it's the 2019 remake. He's been very iffy on wanting to watch this, which is understandable because our general consensus with remakes is most of them are really not good.
Yeah.
But this is from the producers of It, and I watched this in theaters, and I was like so happy. I think it's first of all, Chucky is voiced by Mark Hamill, the voice of the Joker.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think this remake does exactly what I want a remake to do, and that's kind of honor the original, but do your own thing. And making him AI, in retrospect, everyone's like, no, I don't like it. And at first, I really didn't either. But when I watched this, man, dude, this is before Megan came out. That before any other AI horror movie is big AI horror movie. We're not gonna count Ex Machina because that was a great movie.
That came out like 2013, I think.
Or 2014, somewhere before around there. Child's Play. Yeah. But I really think this remake is actually really fun, like hilariously funny. I like.
Oh, hilarious!
Yeah,
really?
I think it's funny. There's one-liners in it.
I just remember the trailers and him being hyped about it, and him trying to hype me up about it. I grew up scared of Chucky. I've always been scared of like these dolls that like come alive and they like capture you. I've always been scared of that. And I remember seeing the trailers. To me, it looked like it was trying too hard. That's why I was like,
which is understandable. Honestly, I don't think the trailers did it justice, because I think this is a fun time.
So you think it was poorly promoted?
Absolutely, I think it was.
So we're both
also,
kicking off with two movies that were poorly promoted.
Yeah, and it's also hugely in part to one of the biggest criticisms is that they never came to the original Child's Play creator for like some sort of consulting. Yeah. But again, if you're like, it does what I want a remake to do, and that's honor the original but do your own thing. And I think it does that very perfectly.
So is he like AI or is he an actual robot?
He's like a mix of both.
Okay.
And Aubrey Plaza's in it.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's really good as the single mom. She's awesome. Bryce Tyree Henry plays a cop in it, and he's really, really good. Dude, I'm telling you, this movie is gonna surprise you in a way where you're gonna be like, "This was really fun."
I mean, I hope so. I mean,
I think the same reason why you like it Part 1 with the kids is gonna be the reason why you like this.
Oh,
one.
okay.
Because the kids are a big highlight for me.
I mean, I liked Part 2 of it, but I just felt like Part 1 was just significant.
I do want to warn you though, as cat lovers, be prepared for a cat not to make it. That's all I was.
No, is it brutal?
And he's an orange cat too.
Oh my god, maybe I don't want to watch.
You're like, it's too real. But yeah, dude, Child's Play is definitely up there. It's not my number one for you to watch, but it's one, and I think that when you sit down, you're gonna be like, okay, you might have been right. This was a fun time.
Okay. Yeah. So my next up is a Western. There's not a lot of Westerns that I'm go-ho about, but this is something that I watched with my grandfather that he loved, so I watched with him. So it has a little bit of nostalgia for me.
I have a quick question though. Did he ever watch the original?
310 to Yuma?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Oh wow.
He was huge into Westerns. Like,
yeah,
I mean, he grew up in that era.
I remember. I mean, you know, he's the one that got you into like all the old school movies, like the Blade
my
Runners
grandfather showed me. I credit him so much for me having what I consider good taste.
Any good taste of movies that he has from back in the day definitely.
It's
came from
all
his
my.
grandpa.
I will give credit to him 100%.
They weren't,
and there, a few of them are on here, but like, you know, yeah. Anyways, it's 310 to Yuma, the remake. I personally haven't seen the original, but the 310 to Yuma remake, it's just like a good Western. Like it's a very simple premise and it has good action. You know, the premise is essentially there's a struggling farmer. Him and his son is now like, you know, of age at that time. He's like 13. He needs to become a man, you know, wielding a gun or whatever. So he wants to prove himself to his dad. So he goes with his dad to transport a high level criminal to a train station so he can go. This is like the era of the like it's no longer starting to become the Wild Wild West. You know, it's starting to be more civilized.
Oh,
and,
like
you know,
there's a lot more police.
It's like if you played the first Red Dead Redemption, it's like that time era.
Okay.
You know, like they're starting to build machine guns and cars are slightly becoming, you know, like
it's
the next
slowly
idea.
starting to become the world that we know today.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they're trying to transport
Christian Bale is in that, right?
Yeah, he's the lead, and then he's with he played Cal's dad. He played Gladiator. Fucking blanking.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, Russell Crowe. That's the big gangster. He plays the big gangster.
Wow, yeah, that's a cast.
Yeah, it's a good cast.
Really?
Yeah, and you'll know his gang members too, because his gang members are essential. The whole movie is like his gang members are trying to capture them, and
you know that's the director of Logan.
See, there you go. That's probably why I like it. Yeah, it's a good movie. It has a good score.
That's
anyone
a movie that
hasn't
has
watched
gone
it,
under the radar for me.
Yeah,
but I want to watch it. I've heard so many good things about it. It's one of those remakes I hear a lot of people raving about.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. Now, like, I haven't watched it in a long time, but I own it. And I always remember loving it. So I'm like, yeah, I want you to watch it.
I do want to watch that. So absolutely. And for my number 2 pick, it is a boxing movie, and in my opinion, it's probably I'm gonna be bold and say it's the best boxing movie. Whoa. Not in terms of action, but in terms of what I think boxing is. In terms of like the lifestyle.
When did this come out?
This came out 2016.
Okay.
It doesn't have a high budget, but it's called Bleed for This. It's Miles Teller, Aaron Eckhart, It's based on a true story about Vinny Paz, a boxer who got in a car accident and broke his neck. The doctors told him that he was never going to box again. He's lucky if he's going to be able to walk again. And what ensues is definitely the best comeback, one of the best comebacks in sports history of all time.
Really? What's the time period of the movie?
I want to say
or his real life.
I want to say like 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, man, and it's about it just picking yourself back up when you're so low. There's a quote in the movie where they ask him, "What is the biggest lie someone's ever told you?" And he says that it's not that easy. He's like, "It really is that easy." And then there's also another bit where he tells his coach, like, giving up is so easy that it scares me. And this movie is so good. Like, I will tear up at the end all the time when in the boxing movies where they give him that speech to get him up and going. And man, dude, I'm telling you, this movie is such an emotional roller coaster, and it really is. I think it brings to life the spirit of boxing, of picking yourself back up from a loss and getting back out there and fighting through adversity. And it's one of my favorite boxing movies of all time, and I think it's the best boxing movie. So,
wow.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he's tried to get me to watch it before. Like, this was like a long time ago, and I just fell asleep both times. I was also super high.
Yeah.
And it was like the end of the night. We've like been out doing whatever we did at that time.
Yeah.
And we were just falling asleep.
Yeah, dude.
But it's something that because he's talked about this multiple times outside of just the pod, and it is something that I actually genuinely want to watch as well.
And Miles Teller fucking kills it.
Yeah, he's a good actor. I really like. I still need to watch Whiplash, right?
You've never seen
I've
Whiplash?
never watched Whiplash.
Oh my god!
You own it?
I don't actually.
Okay, so you can't even be
I
that
can't.
mad.
No, okay, but I've seen it though.
I've always
and
wanted to
it's
watch
so
it.
good. Oh, dude, now I have to buy it on Blu-ray.
I've always wanted to watch it, but it's just like I don't
This
know.
is my
I just
favorite
never got around
performance
to it.
from him, but Whiplash is damn fucking good. But Whiplash,
Well,
you could
Whiplash was
argue
his, like,
is
first movie, was
Jake. No,
No, I mean like it's one that like
really put him like his
put like
acting
burst
up.
on the scene.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because that came out.
That's how I remember.
2014. He was kind of coming out with comedies before.
Yeah. I remember him in I think it was 21 and Over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good ass movie. That's a fun movie.
He was also in Project X.
Yeah, Project X is a great ass.
He was a cameo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was great. And it's funny because when he's in that movie, you're like, who the fuck is that guy? He seems cool, But yeah, man. Believe for this, amazing.
All right, my next up is I'm actually gonna bump one down. Mine's Inception. Now he hasn't. I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. He's my favorite director. I've watched I think all of his movies outside of Insomnia and the two Magicians. I forget what it's called. Those are the only two movies I haven't watched.
The Prestige.
Yes, The Prestige. That's what it's called.
That's Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. I'm surprised you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but
I've
heard a lot of people say it's really good. It's something I've been wanting to watch. I just haven't gone to it. But anyways, Inception is one that I really want him to watch. This is like one of my favorite movies of all time because I remember watching it in theaters and like this was like when the high horn, like the score for a high horn was like becoming to be a thing.
You know what's so funny is I've never seen Inception, but I've listened to the soundtrack a lot.
It's a great fucking soundtrack.
It's a like phenomenal
the
soundtrack.
Part when they're, I know you've seen it, but when they're in the hotel and they're in the first dream sequence, and he this is what I love about Christopher Nolan.
That is sick.
Is he will build his own sets. He will try to do everything possible to make
practical.
it as practical as possible. And he's literally rotating a whole fucking hallway during a fight scene, and it's just so awesome. It's so good. I could go on and on about it. The ending. You don't know what actually is true or not, and just keep going through the dream sequences, and each one just keeps getting more grand and big. It's a fucking dope concept, and it also made me realize that I hadn't realized before I watched the movie is that when you dream, you never have a beginning to a dream. You're always in the middle of it. You're always starting in like the most important part and the most action part of what's happening in your dream.
You kind of just fucked me up with
Exactly.
that realization.
When
Did
I
you not
first
see
watched-
my reaction?
When I first watched
I was
I was
like,
like,
what?
whoa, that's so true. It's always like in the height of whatever's happening. And that's something that I feel like the movie always captures. Because like when it cuts to a new scene, if you've seen Memento, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. Where it will cut to like the most important part and you're like, whoa, what is, like, it makes you ponder and question what what's going on, and it gets filled out as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But Inception is next on mine.
I do want to watch it because I do love the soundtrack, and it's weird that I love the soundtrack to a movie, and I've never seen the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll definitely want to check it out. I'm pretty sure that's on Max.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think a lot of his movies are on Max.
And a lot of this list is also because we're constantly telling each other to watch something, so I just figured it'd be easier. Like, let's make a top 5 list. We don't have to watch it within a week, but even if we watch
we could just
one pick per
review
week,
it on on
an upcoming episode. Yeah, exactly. Because right now he's in the middle of Superman and Lois, and he's into
about
it.
to be on the
I knew he was
going
to be into it, so.
Yeah, I don't even want to go on that. I'll go on a tangent.
Yeah. All right, my next movie is an Oscar-nominated movie.
Okay.
It is Her. It stars Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. It is kind of an odd movie because it is about a guy falling in love with AI.
When did this come out?
This came out 2015, 16, around that time.
Super relevant to now.
Yeah, and it's crazy to say that this is probably, in my opinion, probably the best love story on screen because it does something to you, man. You're not supposed to care. This is weird. There is like some sort of like sex scene in there where she's just talking and he kind of like yeah, exactly. Okay. But this whole story about this guy just kind of really wanting to find love and probably telling my futures. But dude, I just can't say enough good things about Her. Like, you will probably tear up a little bit. Joaquin Phoenix, as always, kills it. I don't want to spoil anything in the movie either, but this is very prevalent to today as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Her. I really think if you sit down and you watched it with your girl and I think you guys would like it.
Okay. Because the only thing I know about, or from what I remember when it was like first coming out, I was like, "Is that movie?"
It is a weird premise.
It is especially for the time.
Yeah.
You like I was just coming out of high school. It's like 2015, and you're like seeing trailers for it, and you're like, I don't know. And then now I'm like, wow, that movie was like kind of ahead of its time, considering like where AI is gonna go and where it potentially is gonna go. It's like super relevant.
Yeah, man. And I think the movie's gonna surprise you a lot.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
with the amount of heart and depth that the movie has.
It's a pick that I didn't see coming from him. That I'm like, hey, he wants me to watch. But
I bet you didn't even expect me to even watch it, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't even know you had that in a collection. I always look at his collection for the most part.
Yeah.
Really, you bought it immediately?
I bought it as soon as I could. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, dude.
I used to sell Blu-rays.
I don't want to go.
That's
on
a whole tangent on its
That's
own.
a whole other fucking rant that we could go on.
Anyways, my next up, I bumped it up. I bumped one down. My next up is Tenet. The reason why I bumped it up one is because one thing that he's
Inception.
Over Inception.
Wow.
I'm talking about for you. I'm not talking about what's a better movie. I'm talking about for you.
Which one do you think is a better movie?
Inception. 100% Inception. Anyways, the reason why I bumped it up is because he's always kind of dogged on the Christopher Nolan trilogy for Batman. He's like, the fight scenes. Now on this, to me, he really went out of his way to be like, all right, Marco, I fucking hear you, bro.
Yeah, he specifically was like, this fucking redhead. This Mexican ginger.
He's like, I gotta teach him a fucking lesson.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh my god, those fight scenes in the Batman are the best thing. I just don't think they're as bad as he tries to make them out to be. Now in this, to me, he really writes that wrong. Like he's like, because it's like, okay, I don't want to spoil too much, but he fights someone from the past, and when you figure out how the past works in this time travel movie, it's very like, whoa, because it's like the choreography has to be done in reverse.
Okay.
So I don't want to spoil too much, but it's like when you first watch it, you're just gonna be like, at least for me, I was like, wow, they did that in such a cool way, and it's in a one shot.
Okay.
So
well, you know what? I'll probably be even more frustrated with him because I'm like, it took you this fucking long to film a good action sequence? You couldn't do that with Batman? Like,
but see, they're not bad action sequences. They're just not as bad as you make it out to be. But the whole premise of the movie,
the Batman Begins action sequences are bad.
Okay. I don't think so. But all right, whatever. We'll agree to disagree. I just don't think they're that bad. I'm not gonna sit here and say they're like, oh
but
my
I'm,
god. It's
oh
like,
no, I will admit I'm spoiled.
not like
I'm
raid
spoiled
quality.
when it comes to action movie
I know you.
choreography.
He will literally just like watch cuts from movies of like
action
all
sequence.
raid fight scenes, all fucking John Wick fight
Just
scenes.
martial arts movies are so important to me. Like there's a movie called Kung Fu Killer that I don't think you've ever even heard of.
No.
That's so fucking badass, but it's also like overseas they just know how to film action. Apparently,
I will
America's
agree
really
with that.
difficult.
Actually,
you know?
they when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, like they're just better at it.
They're like,
for
oh,
some
the
reason.
audience wants to see what's going on. Okay, cool. No, but I do want to watch Tenet.
But
I'm curious.
I blame fucking
'Cause it has
Born Identity for
50-50.
that type of shit though.
As 50. No, you know who I blame? I blame Hollywood because
that's fine.
just because one movie did it decently doesn't mean that every fucking movie afterwards has to. And that's the Hollywood fucking train. They're like, "Oh, it worked for this movie. Let's do it for all of fucking these." I'm just gonna go off on a tangent if we continue to talk about this.
Go ahead. Go to your next one.
My next pick is it's not a double feature, but I really want him to watch The Evil Dead 2. It's a movie that means so much to me.
So is that 1 and 2?
That is 1 and 2, but you don't need to watch 1.
Okay. Just watch 2.
Just watch 2 because 2 basically redoes 1 in like the first 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Just a bunch of stuff I don't really want to get into in terms of like they didn't have the rights for the first movie because it's a different production company that did Evil Dead 2, so they kind of just had to like redo it in a way. But I still think Evil Dead 2 is the better movie personally. Okay. It's the one that I grew up watching, and it's the one that I love it. It breaks a lot of horror mold for me, where in terms of like I love it when the main character in a horror movie is just like, you know what, I'm tired of being the victim. I'm coming for you. Mm-hmm. You know, which makes complete sense. You have a super iconic Bruce Campbell cutting off his hand, you know, putting the chainsaw on it, which is fucking badass. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll see this movie, and you'll see a lot of current directors. What they do.
Is that the one by Sam Raimi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sam Raimi did all the Evil Dead movies.
Oh, he did all. Oh,
yeah, he did 1, 2, and Army of Darkness. And he directed the pilot for Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Evil Dead 2, so awesome. I think it goes where you least expect it, but that's one of the reasons why I like it. I love the slapstick comedy. I know it's not for everyone.
But see, I think I mentioned it in the or maybe it was just a different conversation, but I rewatched Multiverse of Madness, and I feel like one of the big gripes that I remember people having was like, oh, the comedy feels like forced or like a little too raunchy or whatever, and I just feel like that's just what Sam Raimi does.
Yeah,
and I've watched a Evil Dead movie, I just don't know which one it was. And it was like I was so young, and
the remake is pretty good, but the remake just decides to make it a more straightforward horror movie.
Okay.
But the amount of gore and blood is awesome. It's very important to an Evil Dead movie. So yeah, dude, I recommend it. Gives you a really badass introduction to a cool character, and if you did want to branch off from the Evil Dead 2 and you wanted to watch Ash vs. the Evil Dead, I think that's the perfect way to do it. I love Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Evil Dead 2 and then Ash versus the Dead. Okay.
Yeah. That's the way I would go about it. But yeah, that's my pick. What's your?
My number one is essentially kind of a rewatch for him, but he fell asleep during it, and it's a movie I think I love. This again, I would have to credit my grandfather for even showing me this at like fucking 8 years old. Watching Blade Runner. I remember just being like in awe to just like the futuristic style that it has, like this noir, you know, it's like always raining essentially, and it's just like the world building that the movie accomplishes with the limited technology and production style and stuff like that for that time. Really, just it stands the test of time in my opinion. Like the cinematography and the camera work is just so good. But like I said, it's something that he did kind of watch a little bit. You've seen the second one, right? 49?
Like bits and pieces.
Oh, okay. I thought you watched it. But yeah,
I feel like I did, but I don't remember. I remember watching the beginning.
The
where
second
Ryan Reynolds goes to kill Batista.
Yeah.
I did like that a lot. But I think what happened was I think I had to leave, and I put on a movie that I didn't think I was going to get into. And then I was just like, oh, fuck, I gotta go. You know.
Yeah, I think the first one's definitely better than the second one. The second one to me is just they should have just cut things a little bit and it would have been good.
Okay.
That's my only gripe with the second one. But yeah, essentially it's a rewatch because he fell asleep, and I think it's an instant classic. I don't think anyone would argue with that.
Young Harrison Ford.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kills it.
Ridley Scott directed that, I think.
Yeah. When he knew how to direct movies. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. All right. My number one pick is. I've been trying to get him to watch this movie for a long time. He's not the biggest Jason Statham fan.
No, I'm not.
But I wanted him to watch Wrath of Man. It's directed by Guy Ritchie. I think it's such an interesting revenge story because it's, in a way, it's Jason Statham still kicks ass, but the story of it is really interesting. The mystery of it. It goes in a way where you really don't expect. And also the fucking score to this movie is awesome to me. I love the score to this movie. It feels like the Sicario score with a little more violins. It's so good.
Sicario's a good
Again,
movie.
it's directed by Guy Ritchie, the director of The Gentleman, which is another one of my favorite movies. And the reason why I want him to watch this movie is because it's not a movie. The trailer didn't do it justice. The trailer just kind of makes it seem like it's an outright Jason Statham's gonna kick ass movie. And there's a lot more stakes in this. And I don't want to ruin it because I don't want to take away from the experience. Because as you watch the mystery unfold, because it's one of those like you start at point, let's say D, then we go back to point A till you realize how you got to point D, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then it kind of continues. It's such a cool mystery, and it's a role that it's probably my favorite Jason Statham acting role because I feel like here he acts a lot more. He's not as Jason Statham as he usually is. He's a lot more stoic.
Oh, okay.
He's not the one-liner.
Yeah.
He's not.
That's how I always picture him.
Yeah, and that's not what this movie is. So yeah, man, I highly recommend Wrath of Man for anyone who hasn't seen it. I think it's such a fun movie, and again, trailers just don't do it justice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's our homework for the week. We'll get back to you when we've seen one of these.
I'll probably honestly the first one I'll watch is probably Bleed for This. That's the one that intrigues me the most, and then probably Evil Dead.
I support 100%. I think you're gonna honestly. I'm gonna be ballsy and say I think you're gonna like all these movies.
All of them, really.
I do think that.
I don't think I'm gonna watch. I will watch it, but I don't think I'm gonna like. What is it called?
Wrath of Man.
Wrath of Man. I don't think I'm gonna like that.
I think you're gonna be surprised by it. I think I still think you are gonna like it. I am. I'm gonna be bold. I think you are gonna like it.
Okay. All right.
Love is a completely different thing.
Okay.
But I think you're gonna like it for what it is. You can be like, I didn't expect that. That was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think your least favorite will probably. I don't know, dude. Okay, could be Wrath of Man.
These are great movies.
I think these are good movies.
Honestly, from my list, I think the only one that you probably won't like. No, those are great movies. I don't know.
That's us. That's definitely us.
Yeah, that's us.
Man. I kind of want to let our audience know too. We had a episode filmed and shit crashed. It's kind of salvageable, but we kind of just decided to just redo the episode because we were already. It was kind of a clusterfuck of a day, sort of. We didn't expect a lot of things to pop up and happen, but we're here. We're refilming this entire episode. I wanted to add something to it, so that's what we did with our bit of homework.
Yep.
But we did want to talk about stuff that's really relevant right now, like the San Diego Comic-Con announcements. Yeah, man.
Get into the big one.
The big one, Doctor Doom. I'm probably gonna have a different tone than I did from the last episode. We got into it a little bit. We got into it in the last one. But right now, I am just gonna be. I just want to see a good villain, and I think RDJ can do that. So we'll see what they have cooked up. I do trust the Russo brothers at the end of the day.
I agree.
Marvel, I'm like 50-50 on trusting, but I think that if bringing the Russo brothers back is a big step into me being 100% trusting them. So we'll see. I wasn't a big fan of this casting because I feel like you could have gotten someone else. I did say it felt like safe casting.
You did say it was
but I will say I'm one of those guys where like if I fan cast a character, even though I may not know them that well, and someone else that's not them gets cast, I'm already kind of going to be annoyed, True. Because I saw a lot of people fan casting Cillian Murphy as Doctor Doom.
Who's that?
The dude that plays Oppenheimer.
Oh.
That would have been good casting. Don't lie.
That would have been
great casting. Exactly.
That would have been great casting. I just don't think he would want to be in the Marvel.
I don't think so.
He doesn't seem like that type. I mean, he doesn't even, if I remember correctly, he doesn't even have a phone or email or something. I remember seeing an interview about that.
He does like a radio show for like the BBC, a couple episodes every once in a while of like a podcast, which I think is funny.
Yeah. but I know he's like not on social media like or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, he's like very just like
he's one of those
I'm
actors.
about my you know, my field, like my career, like, which I respect. I mean, Oppenheimer was awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree. That would be a great fucking casting.
Yeah, man. So
and my counter to, because yesterday this is what we really got into about it. Because he said, "Oh, it felt like safe casting," and at the time he didn't have someone else to name. You know what I mean? I'm like, who would you want instead? What would be so much better? Now I think that one would be an alternate good casting, but I don't think it's like, oh my god, that's so much better than having RDA. Because I think RDA is a really good fucking actor.
Who's RDA?
Yeah, Robbie Downey Jr.
RDJ.
Oh, RDJ. Hot. I was talking. Wait, RDA is fucking Rafael Desagues.
Yeah, I was like, dog.
Wrong sport.
Yeah. Wrong topic of discussion, son.
But yeah, I'm very hopeful. You know what I mean? I do want to like do some more of my own research about Doctor Doom because I can't even really touch on that. Like, I just know he's one of the most powerful beings in Marvel Universe. That's all I know.
That's also why I kind of shut up too, because like I can't be mad because I'm not a fucking Doctor Doom fan, and I can be like.
The only thing I know about him, and this was before the casting, is that he killed Thanos. That's the only thing I knew about him. And he killed him with like a single blow or choked him or something.
No, he took his spine out.
Oh, took his spine out. See, that's
pretty hard.
It is pretty hard. But like I said, that's the only thing I know of him. So for me, to be like to criticize it so much, to be like, I just don't know. I'm just gonna wait and see. I think
the thing for me too is like I'm having a hard time thinking because Doctor Doom is so essential not just to the Marvel Universe but to the Fantastic Four that I'm like, so did you just cast RDJ as Doctor Doom to go against your version of the Fantastic Four? And how long is that going to be for? Because hold on. Because here's the thing. I don't want you to make a big villain and then my biggest gripe with Marvel has always been they'll have great casting for a villain and then they'll fucking kill him off in the same movie. They don't even want to have him on for like a couple others.
For who?
Christian Bale for one. Okay, but the Christian Bale one I kind of understand in terms of like the narrative.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But Thor: Love and Thunder was a shitty movie anyway, so
it wasn't that bad.
It was fucking bad, dude.
It was not that bad.
Yeah,
it was not that bad.
It's just like.
Do I think it was the greatest movie of all time? No. But was it fun? Yes.
That's I can go on a whole tangent about Thor: Love and Thunder that I'm just not gonna get into. But yeah, man. Let's see.
I think we need to rewatch it together and give live notes.
I'm down.
Okay.
I'm down because I will not shut up.
Because maybe if I rewatch it, I'll be like in a.
I'm gonna ruin the movie for you.
Maybe, but I remember. Oh no, I remember liking it.
I had such big hopes for that movie too. Anyways.
Anyways, we can go off on tangents.
Yeah, man. But going from Doctor Doom to Fantastic Four, I'm super excited about Fantastic Four. I'm one of the people that I grew up on the original Fantastic Four movies.
I did not.
I was one of the hopeful ones for the 2015 one. Because honestly, the first teaser trailer they released was giving like everyone was like, this is like Interstellar vibes. And the vibes they were giving off to was like a realistic body horror movie about people that got these abilities that transformed their body. The director of Chronicle. And Chronicle's a great movie.
Yeah, that's a great
movie. But we do know that there was a lot of studio meddling.
It was Fox, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah, it was, of course.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who.
That's why
it's in the. Is that who made the original ones too?
Yeah. That's why Fox is in the void now.
It
got pruned.
It got pruned.
You know?
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
They fixed the timeline.
But yeah, man, and you had great casting for that movie, and you fucking ruined it. And
it was good casting.
You know, it's unfortunate. It is what it is, though. You learn from that, do something better. I think Marvel looked at that movie and they're like, haha. Yeah. But I really like the tone that they did for Fantastic Four. This it's not even a teaser. It's just test footage.
It's test footage.
Which is insane because it looks so good.
It's great.
I shut up about Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards because I did feel like that was safe casting. I am also one of the ones that wanted John Krasinski back.
I did too.
I
was
wanted
on that
him.
boat.
I was like, come on, let's do it.
Please, can you just do it?
And also, you know, I mean, at this point, it's like, I don't want to say the old Mr. Fantastic wasn't a handsome dude, but like Pedro Pascal has a certain little spice to him too. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, he's too pretty. You know? And then I saw what he was going for and what he was gonna do, and I really like it. I love the chemistry all the cast had. I'm super pumped for it, dude. Yeah. I that's probably my most anticipated movie for next year.
I agree. I mean, I don't even know what the word is, but I've always loved when it's futuristic, but it's still set in the time period like it's in the 60s, much like the Fallout series or the Fallout games if you played it.
I guess you could call it like retro futuristic, right?
Yeah, retro futuristic. I've always loved that, where like time and technology has progressed, but they're still wearing like... You okay?
Ow.
50s like style clothes and stuff like that. I've always enjoyed that. So the time that they're... I also love that it's gonna be in a separate universe. So they're...
I don't know how I feel about that personally.
I personally like it because you don't have to be like, oh my god, okay, how do we fit this in the timeline? Like, you just get to do your own self-contained story.
Yeah.
I think it leads a lot more flexibility to the overall narrative of the story. Instead of trying to fit it in, oh my god, this is when Howard Stark was here, we got to mix this in. Oh yeah, Peggy Carter was also in this time era. Like, you're just doing a lot to try to work around why they weren't in there with Hank Pym, essentially. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
those
but
type of things you're going to have to work in.
I will say, I agree, but I do like the theory, fucking fan theories or whatever, right? But some, you know, and again, this was in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. When Stephen Strange said this to that Mr. Fantastic, remember when he was in the different world? It's like,
yeah,
the Fantastic Four is like, didn't you guys chart in the 60s? Well, if you do it in a way where like they came, I liked the idea of them going missing from the 60s, but coming back to modern day.
So like the first Avenger,
like time, like the time to them, it might have been a couple minutes, an hour.
Oh, so but like they went in the quantum realm.
Yeah, exactly, and then they came back. They're like, oh shit,
see,
all this time has passed. I like that a lot more, but I understand, and I like I said, I really do agree with what you're saying, because you can really just build up that story, focus on your narrative. I also have a feeling their universe isn't going to make it at all, because also you know Avengers Doomsday is coming up, and then Avengers Secret Wars, so I imagine that their universe is going to be destroyed.
I agree.
You know,
it's probably that's probably what's
they're probably going to go into the Marvel universe. Exactly.
And it's going to and that's one of the worlds.
So I guess the Marvel universe doesn't have a Fantastic Four. But here's the thing, though. This is where they fucked themselves up. So why did Stephen Strange say that?
Well, I think it's just more of a joke. And also in
but
our world,
you ruined the...
Hold on. In Doctor Strange's universe, so 616, it could have been like a toy line. You know what I mean? It could have been like, it could exist in their world, but it can exist in a different way than them being actual characters. Does that make sense?
Yeah, or actually, it could just be like that Earth's Fantastic Four never had powers. They did chart, but they never made it back.
See, that also could be a thing.
I guess, yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like I said, I like it because, one, they've already built up the multiverse. You know what I mean? They took the time to do it. They've done it. You know what I mean? Now, this is the time when you actually get to utilize it in the best way possible. Like I said, where you don't always have to fit something to an other narrative, to a big overarching. You can just do a self-contained story. And, you know, it's going to be Galactus.
Galactus looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
And his voice is phenomenal.
Just test footage. So for it to be looking that good with test footage, man, I'm excited. You know, I've never been a big Fantastic Four fan. So to me, and for me to be excited, I think that says a lot.
That is also another good sign for Marvel too, because like if you've never been a fan of these characters and all of a sudden you're very intrigued on what they're gonna put, because no one knew or fucking cared about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly.
And now Guardians of the Galaxy is like in my top 10.
Yeah, it's a mainstay.
So, yeah, man, I completely agree. Another thing that got me excited from Comic-Con, did you ever see the animated show that they released for DC, the Creature Commandos?
No, I did not.
Oh, that's supposed to be a part of the DCU. It's animated, but like the same character, the same people that voice the animated characters are gonna be them in live action.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. James Gunn wrote him, and dude, it looks so fun. It looks so cool. It's like a monster version of Suicide Squad. I love monsters. I'm curious to see how they're gonna incorporate the animation into live action.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting concept. I think that's a very easy way to save money too, to be honest. But yeah, man, I'm super pumped. I think that was like one of the few things DC did put out because they're really focused on Superman Legacy, which I'm all for. You know, I'm excited for Superman
I think
Legacy.
They need to, how successful do you think that movie has to be though?
I think it's the only thing. If Superman Legacy does not do well, the DCU is dead, and Warner Brothers is gonna get bought out. If not already gonna get bought out.
Wow.
I 100%
Are they that down bad? Dude, I know they lost a lot of money.
Bombing. And okay, this is one thing too, where they shouldn't have announced James Gunn should have probably waited to announce it for this Comic-Con.
Yeah.
If he had waited for this Comic-Con to be like, this is what we have planned, I think everyone would be okay. And maybe the other movies that bombed, like The Flash, Shazam, Aquaman, they wouldn't have bombed so hard.
Oh, Aquaman also bombed?
Dude, how does it go from a billion-dollar movie to not even breaking even? That's insane. The first Aquaman made a...
Yeah.
First Aquaman was really
good, though. First Aquaman was really good.
The second Aquaman, honestly, I feel like it's what Thor Love and Thunder is. It's a lot more jokey. I still like it. I watched it. It's really not bad. None of the DCU movies that bombed are bad, because Blue Beetle bombed too.
I didn't watch that. But see, that also... But they also were like, it's also going to be on Max. I remember them doing that, and it was like, what the fuck? Why am I going to go pay?
No. It was Blue Beetle was originally just going to be a Max original movie. Then they decided to release it in theaters. That's what they did.
Yeah, I know, but I swear I remember it being like, oh, it's released in theaters, but it's also going to be in it's going to be on Max in like 2 weeks or something. I feel like I remember seeing that and be like, no, but why would I want to go see it in a movie?
That was Warner Brothers was doing that heavily during the pandemic for most of their big releases.
True. But that didn't come out in pandemic. That came out like 2022 or something. Last year.
Beetle, yeah, but I don't remember it being on Max 2 weeks later though.
I swear to God, it was.
Maybe. I also wasn't paying attention to the. They're horrible at marketing their movies.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're so bad.
Fucking awful. Deadpool has phenomenal marketing.
That's how you need to
I think every superhero movie should learn from that. And also, you need to realize it's all about that merch, baby.
Yeah, it's that merch.
Make quality merch. That's why Deadpool...
we're looking at boxing gloves right now.
Deadpool boxing gloves that we're both considering buying. You'd have to get the Wolverine, though. I'd have to get
No, I'm getting Deadpool. What the
fuck?
Yeah. I think I have more Deadpool things than you.
Maybe, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe. But I'm a bigger fan.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so.
No, I don't think so. When's the last time you played the game, bro? Exactly.
That's a good point.
You haven't made a dedicated video to it like I have.
When's the last time you watched the Deadpool movies? Not including Deadpool and Wolverine.
Dude, I rewatched the original Deadpool like March because my grandma wanted to watch it. We watched it.
Yeah, but your Deadpool lore and my Deadpool lore, my shit goes deeper, dog. I was there before the test. I read the original script, motherfucker. You can't tell me shit.
I read one of the comics the end of last year in November. I read.
He's trying to say he's a bigger fan when I read the original movie, the original script for the Deadpool movie before it actually released when it was canceled. When it was literally.
And who was feeding all this information to who? Me. So I was also aware.
Do you remember where you were when the test footage dropped for Deadpool? Because I do. Exactly.
I was with you.
No, you were. Anyways,
I'm just saying, if you're claiming to be a bigger fan, I expect you to have more merch, other than something that I bought you.
I have like two Deadpool shirts. Do you have any Deadpool comics?
Yeah, I do. I have the white, what is it called? White, red, and blood or something.
That's it. Oh, shit. Okay, that one. And what else? Good one. What else?
I have another one. And also my girlfriend has one. So that technically...
That does not count. That is hers. No.
And I have like 4 pops of him. And I have the video game. And I have a shirt. I have 2 shirts. 3 shirts now.
Oh, I have 2 Deadpool shirts.
Yeah.
Damn, you're going to make me go on a Deadpool box.
Yeah, I know. He's going to be like... Okay, he has 11 items. I need 12.
Yeah, that's exactly how it needs to be. Oh, man. But anyways.
But I feel like my dedicated video really elevates me.
No.
Yes, it does. That's just because I took time out of my life to give
Would
praise.
you have taken time to give praise if it wasn't what's going on in the algorithm right now for the Deadpool and Wolverine.
I was
release.
ahead of everyone, actually.
Oh, dude. Okay, you're one of the many.
I was ahead of a lot. I was very ahead for the Wolverine one. I was very ahead. I was like a month ahead.
You know what I think I'm a bigger fan of than you?
What?
Dexter.
Yeah. I mean, I love
Maybe
the first
he's
4
relatable,
seasons.
honestly.
I love the first 4 seasons of Dexter, but
You've never inner monologued yourself.
Oh, I have.
Like the
All
way
the time.
Dexter has.
Yeah, I have.
You're just like, oh, fucking hell. Are you like, or like you're thinking what you want to say, but you say the exact opposite.
Yeah. I mean, I like Dexter.
Like, yeah, baby,
I
you
just
look
feel
good.
like I just feel like out of nowhere. I know you, because on the last pod we talked about it. He said that it's come back to Netflix, and that's why it's gained all this popularity again, or like reignited.
A new generation, essentially,
Yeah.
is
And I was more like,
it.
how come all of a sudden we're coming out with all these new things?
So, dude, it was on Prime for a bit first, but it's on the last time it was on Netflix was like 2015, 2016, dog. That's why I remember, because I watched
2017, because I tried to get my girl to watch it.
because I watched Dexter for the first time on Netflix. So that's how I know, where I'm like, oh, this is a show I've always wanted to watch. Let me give it a shot.
I watched it when it was first coming out. I remember coming to my grandparents like each Sunday, I think it was, and just watching.
Time to watch the show about a serial killer.
Yeah, it was great.
Dude, it's so funny that they called what do they call Dexter America's favorite serial killer? Mm-hmm. That's insane. But dude, to be fair, he kills killers, so we're cool with him. We like him.
All good.
You're like, unless he like manipulates the system, which he kind of does sometimes, just to get the kills so he can feel good. But I mean, we all have our, we're human. We all make mistakes. Yeah. We're not perfect.
I mean, I will say, like the prequel series interests me more than
I'm excited.
Them redoing essentially.
Oh wow, the prequel has you more intrigued than the sequel.
Yeah, because it's just like. He explained to me what had happened, and it was New Blood, right?
New Blood, yeah.
Yeah, he explained to me what had happened, and he was like, "I'm just gonna tell you because I don't want you to watch it because the ending just ruins a really good build up, and the ending ruins it all." I know they're retconning that now, and they're doing their own thing, but to me, it's just like, it just feels like
the fact that you needed to retcon goes to show that you fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
I get what you're saying, but there's something to be said, like, hey, we know we fucked up, we know we didn't do right. Let's do something to make it up to you. And that I can appreciate. Mm-hmm. Because there is a way you can make this next sequel series fucking interesting. Yeah. And you can make Here's the thing. You can make a prior bad ending good. In the overall narrative of the story that is Dexter. If you make the sequel good. And if you actually stick that landing, or if you want to continue it for like 2 more seasons, at least have shit build up and ready.
But I will say the only thing that does kind of concern me a little bit with the prequel is because like in the mainline series they referenced it a lot and did a lot of live action, like when he's like having essentially flashbacks, like it happens a lot.
Yeah, like I'm very intrigued how they're gonna do his first kill again, because that was a whole episode.
Yeah, it was a whole episode.
He had a whole flashback. It was just Michael C. Hall in a fucking long wig, which was hilarious. I'm really intrigued. Or if they're smart, what they'll do so they don't contradict themselves a lot is have it be. It sounds like they might have it be after his first kill. That way, it doesn't really fuck.
See, that makes that I would like them. But again, though, is that they do have a lot of flashbacks, like when he's with his dad. I remember them being like going fishing, and interaction like when he first goes to prom or a dance or something, like those type of things where they've already treaded light on it and it being live action. That's where I'm like, that's my only concern.
Like, what are you gonna? Yeah.
Like how? Like you said, you don't want to step on your own toes, essentially. Yeah. Because it's gonna be prequel. That means it's gonna be attached to the mainline series. So that's the only thing that concerns me. Other than that, I'm actually kind of excited for that. More than like I said, the continuation of New Blood.
You know what? I just thought about. They could fucking nail this shit and make it amazing if they have the prequel be Dexter's confession to the police and the Dexter sequel series, that whole story. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Elaborate.
Like, obviously someone gets caught, they start getting questioned, and I'm
Okay.
gonna assume that it's gonna be Miguel, or someone that he worked with questioning him, right?
Uh-huh.
So they're gonna want to know, when did this start, dude? Like, I've worked with you for years.
Oh.
So the prequel series
I see what you're saying now.
because he's narrating the
Yeah.
story.
I
You know
see
that?
what you're
He's
saying now.
narrating
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, yo, if you do that, because they're supposed to be running not consecutively, but you know, this is coming out, then the new season of the sequel series to Dexter's coming out. Then I'm assuming if the prequel does good, they might want to do a second season to that. You know, and that'd be really. That's a very creative way.
So it'd be
to do
like,
that.
okay, I see what you're talking about.
Like
so
the
it'd be
prequel
like
is his
Manhunt.
confessions.
It'd be like Manhunt, where they go and interrogate, and they're explaining their kills to him.
Mm-hmm. He's
Okay, I see what
or
you're
he
saying.
is explaining it to some psychologist.
Yeah,
or something,
yeah, I
you
see
know?
what you're saying. Okay.
That would
Yeah,
be,
I like that premise, actually. I like that premise. Because then he's going off of his own memory, and his memory can be distorted. So
Yeah.
then you're not necessarily stepping on your own toes.
You're kind of following in line what an actual like sociopathic serial killer would do. So yeah, I agree.
That'd be cool. Because then he might get a little bit more into it. Because, like, if he's, like, incarcerated, he hasn't killed in a while.
Yeah.
So he's going to be, like, relishing. Ooh, actually, if they do that, that gets me bricked.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. And I can't think of any other show that's done something similar where there isn't an overarching narrative, but the one of the narratives they're telling can be added to the sequel series
Yeah.
and have it line up. But you can kind of do your own thing with the prequel series, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I hope that. Honestly, I hope that's what they do now.
I hope so too. I would be really. I mean,
Or something
they could
along those
yeah,
lines.
they could
It doesn't
figure
have
out
to
a
be
way.
exactly that. But
Yeah,
like I said, that intrigues me. That definitely intrigues me.
yeah, man. So that's it, man. And I know you're really excited for Aliens Romulus, right?
Yes, I'm very excited. So much so that I've been playing. So I've had Alien Isolation for a long time. Like, it came out off the top of my head. It came out like in the early life cycle of the PS4.
He has a lot of things, like a huge collection of like video games and movies. And
called a
ask me if
backlog.
he's seen anyone. He hasn't. He literally has Taxi Driver, a steelbook Taxi Driver that he
Are you
hasn't
talking
even
about my
seen.
video games, or are you talking about my movies?
You also have video games that you bought and you haven't played yet.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing though. So, shout out to my mainline channel. I buy games that I know I want to play, especially for the PS3, because I missed out on that whole era.
So
'cause
you
I
don't
have-
buy movies that you don't want to watch?
No, I do. Hold on,
Okay.
listen, motherfucker. God damn. So I buy games, right? I buy games in the intention of, one, my own interests, and two, games that I can make a video about. Because I'm quick lore background. When I first started my channel, it was about Call of Duty. If I wasn't playing Call of Duty, it felt like, God damn, what am I doing? I need to be making a video. That's why I've switched my whole format to be like, okay, if I want to, like, I just played Uncharted not that long ago, The Lost Legacy. Like, if I wanted to make a video about that, I can now. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me, when I play another game, it doesn't make me feel like, oh my God, I'm not progressing my channel like I want to. That's the whole reason why I changed. So that's why I buy games to match my, what I actually want to play and what my series is going to come up to. Now, in terms of the movies, those it's a little different, because sometimes you just don't have 2 hours. Because, like, in terms of, like, you can sit down and play a game for an hour. You can't sit down and watch, at least for me, in how I like to enjoy a movie, I can't just watch a movie half hour, an hour, and then come back to it an hour later. I personally can't do that. I like to watch it continuously, because I like to have the full experience all as a whole. I don't like to, like I wouldn't want to watch, like, Taxi Driver and be like, all right, I gotta go to work. I'm gonna come back the next day and watch the rest of it. Like, I don't like doing that.
Well, Taxi Driver is one of those movies that you want to watch.
Exactly.
throughout.
That's what I'm saying. Is most movies that I
Make
haven't watched it,
time.
or movies that I want to watch. But it's also
Like,
hard when I'm
babe,
like,
we see each other every day, babe. I'm gonna
yeah, you
sit
wanna
down and
explain
watch
that to her?
Taxi Driver.
you want to explain that to her?
How about you be a man?
Oh my God! Here we go.
How about you grow up? I'm
Says it
sorry.
from a single man. That
I'm
gets
sorry
no
that your
putang.
ball sack is in a coin. It's in a coin purse carried with her at all times.
Mine's drained, actually.
Oh God. You're like,
He's over here
actually-
sitting on his blue balls, just fucking bouncing up and down on them.
Yeah, like that episode of South Park. It's actually.
Yeah, where he has a wheelbarrow. It's like, yeah. But anyways, I've been playing Alien Isolation, and that game is fucking terrifying. It's actually fucking terrifying. And they
I'd be
nailed the aesthetic. Like, you feel like you're on a ship from that world. So, like when they, like the computer screens, like, it's, like, still, like, kind of like a retro-y kind of, like, look. But it's the future.
It's still somehow the future. You're in a spaceship,
yeah,
of all
exactly.
things,
But
their computer still looks like it's in the fucking 2000s.
they've kept all of that.
Yeah,
And I love
that's
that.
awesome.
I love that. So they've, like, nailed the aesthetic. And I don't know, the xenomorph is fucking terrifying. It's like 10 feet tall. You hear it like from 3. So one thing that's really cool about it. Have you played any horror games?
You said you don't count it, but I played Dead by Dawn.
Okay, that doesn't.
It's
Dead by
literally a
Daylight.
horror.
It's Dead by, you didn't even get the name right.
Dead by Daylight.
It's Dead by Daylight.
You know
It
what?
doesn't really. I mean, it's
How does
it has
it not
like
count?
Well, here's the thing though. Is that like when it comes to
Zombie
horror,
games count as horror too.
Yeah, but like when it comes to certain horror games, I mean, it does. I don't know. I guess more of like, have you played Outlast? That's a game I think you would like actually.
Mm-mm.
But anyways, so just to explain the alien real quick, it has 2 brains. There's the AI brain that knows exactly where you are at all times, and there's the other brain that has no idea where you are. So it's like works as a conjunction to where like the alien's like always kind of around you, and it learns your, so like the dumb brain essentially will learn your playing habits. So exactly, bro, it's fucking terrifying. So like if you're someone that's like, all right, I'm gonna wait for the alien to pass. Like maybe you throw it because you can distract it. You can't fight the alien because the alien will just fuck you up. You do have a gun that can kind of stun it a little bit, but your whole point of the game is to like survive, and the alien will just fuck you up like how it is in the first movie. So like if you like to like go in like the lockers and hide, like the alien will start coming around the lockers because it knows where you like to hide. Yeah, exactly. It will get terrified, bro. It fucking scares the shit out of you. And the whole reason I'm playing this is to lead up to the new Alien Romulus, which I'm very excited for, because we went and saw the last Alien movie and we were very disappointed by it. We fell asleep during it.
We weren't just like disappointed. We were like, we literally fell asleep.
Yeah, and in terms of being in a movie theater, there's been very few movies that I've personally fallen asleep during, and that's like the only one I can think of.
What's this? 102.
Yeah, that and Long Legs.
Okay, no, Long Legs. I was really tired. That was very different. And also the aesthetic was so like comforting to me. It was like hearing rain, like hearing the rain. You know how some people like the rain sounds? Yeah, that's how. Apparently, murder just does that for me. I don't know.
You're like, oh, it's so soothing.
Yeah,
I was
just
like screaming. Ah!
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I do give you a lot of shit for Alien Romulus, mainly because Alien Covenant was not good.
Yeah.
I just watched the kill count and I called it good. I know I probably should watch it to gauge
but I've
my
also
own
watched
opinion.
the kill count for that, so.
But I'm also like, I don't think I need to
No,
because
you don't
this
need
doesn't
to.
look good, you know. And the most memorable part of Alien Covenant was the fact that we took an edible and fell asleep during it, and then we went to his car, fell asleep in the parking lot, dude. Because we watched that movie at.
It was kind of late.
Yeah, I
We
want
went
to
to a
say
late
like a
showing.
9 o'clock showing or something.
Yeah.
And then fell asleep. I'm gonna assume the movie was done by like midnight, right?
Yeah.
We go back to his car like 12:30. I'm gonna assume, and then we wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
you remember
like,
that?
Yeah. And I'm
We
like,
just
I'm gonna
passed
take you
out.
home. And then he's like, okay.
Yeah. Oh,
we
it
were
was so
tired.
funny, dude.
That edible fucked us up.
That was
bro.
good sleep though.
It was
honestly.
good sleep.
It was like
one
really
of the
good
best sleeps
sleep.
I've ever had. Very memorable because we completely remember it all and we were asleep.
And we would wake up during bits and pieces of the movie. Like I woke up when one of the fucking aliens was attacking someone, and they're just holding them like this, and he's just like "Rawr!" in his
Yeah.
face. That freaked me out, but I went back to sleep.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god. You just
Yeah,
pass
that's
out
exactly
again.
what happened, honestly. But Alien Romulus looks really fucking dope.
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks like a return to form.
In a really good way, but also doing its own thing, telling its own narrative to make it interesting. But maybe, you know, like a return to form, but still doing its own thing, which I really
Because
like.
like one thing that always bugged me of like Prometheus and Covenant, they're always trying to be like, oh my god, the alien's like this big life being, and this is why we all exist. And no,
So do you
it
think?
doesn't need to be that complex. The first Alien movies, it's about the fucking aliens. They're these creatures, we have no idea what they are about. They mass produce and they're fucking terrified.
So do you
That's
think
all it needs to be?
Do you think the Prometheus movies would have just worked better as their own thing?
Yeah, they should have just been that's what I think. They should have been their own thing. They
I
didn't
agree.
need to tie into the alien.
There's no need to.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because I will admit, Alien has this. I love Alien. I love Alien and Predator. They have like not so much Predator. Alien has a really weird history when it goes to like Alien 3, the fucking I forget what the other one was called.
The one where she's a half xenomorph.
Yeah, that one's weird.
That one's like a superhero movie in all honesty.
It's weird. I forget what it's called. It's like Extinction or something. But it just has this weird whole lore and everything. Like it's Resurrection. That's what it's called.
Is it Resurrection?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Because I have the complete set on VHS.
I watched the kill count. I watched all the kill counts.
As a kid, I liked Alien Resurrection. It was just fun. I remember
as a kid, you like Batman and Robin.
Exactly.
You know?
So, you know what I mean? But, like, anyways, I just think that it has this whole convoluted thing. Just make a self-contained story, much like the first Alien. That's all it was.
Yeah.
You're on a ship. It's dark. Things are blowing up. And there's a fucking alien on the loose that's a mass killer. Like,
Xenomorphs,
that's all it needs to be.
Xenomorphs want to kill and make more babies. That's it.
And that's all it needs to be. You don't need to go
you
down
don't
this
need to add about like what is the meaning of life.
Yeah, if you want to do that, Ridley, go do it in its own universe, its own story, because it would have worked out better in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because then you tie these whole expectations. You're like, well, how are you going to do this? How does this all make sense now?
Yeah, dude. And
the execution was just not.
Space horror is something I think we need a little more of too. I like space horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
One I want to rewatch that I watched as a kid was Event Horizon. I really want to rewatch that. I don't think you've ever heard it.
Nope.
It's yeah, dude. That movie's very like a alien spaceship goes into a black hole or comes back, and it turns out to be like they go into literally hell. So that whole ship is literally being tortured by hell. Like it's
really?
like they go through like the 9 layers of hell, and it's good. It's good. I don't have it though. I don't have it unfortunately. But yeah, man. Do you want to get into our top 10?
Yeah, let's get into our top 10. I was just about to pull up my list because it's my other one. Where the fuck did it go? All right. I want to start off with honorable mentions. We can just do this in the whole line. I'll do mine first. You do yours next.
Honorable mentions?
Yeah.
Do
you not have any honorable mentions?
No, I do not. But
I have some honorable mentions. But anyways, before we get into it, welcome. If you guys are new here, subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. We're going to be going through our top 10 greatest or favorite superhero movies of all time. Now, I know superhero movies can be very controversial. So if you don't agree or agree, let me know down in the comments. I have some honorable mentions that didn't just quite make my list just because I think the movies ahead of it are just better. I'm just going to run through it. The first Iron Man. X-Men Days of Future Past. The first Avengers. And Man of Steel. And then this one almost made my list. The Punisher. The first one in 2008.
2004.
2004, sorry.
The 2008 one is the...
Yeah, that's the Warzone one, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That one I didn't like.
I liked it.
You did? I don't know.
That was
my whole
very
thing was more just like I wanted the
accurate.
original actor to reprise his role.
I get it.
That's it. He actually did reprise his role for the game. That's awesome.
You know, there is a short film out there called Dirty Laundry.
I've seen it, yep.
Awesome. Love it. That's a send off. That was before he got pruned. In my canon.
I wish he wasn't Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah.
But launching off my list, so at my number 10 is the first Spider-Man movie, the 2002 version. The first Sam Raimi one.
It's classic.
I've always been a big fan of Spider-Man, and me as a kid, I'm judging all these movies off of when I very first watched it. So just think of the whole setting, you know, like being introduced to this character in live action, something you've watched on the animated series for so long, and it being so gritty. That's my biggest, even now, that's like my favorite thing about that first Spider-Man is that end fight sequence.
That's probably one of my favorite superhero fight
It's
scenes.
so awesome. Yeah. It's brutal. There's no sound. I mean, there's no soundtrack going on. It's just the punches flying through walls. Like, it's fucking epic.
I want that for Tom Holland so bad.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I agree. And that movie's super memorable to me, so that's why it's at my number 10.
I'm going to go with my honorable mentions real quick, and it's literally going to be any Spider-Man movie. Maybe besides, like, Amazing. But here's the thing. Most Spider-Man movies are fucking great.
Yeah, mine's littered with
even the shitty ones, Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, whatever, they're still good, entertaining movies. Yeah. They're still fun to be had with them. So, like, that's why I'm like, it's almost not even fair that I put Spider-Man on there, because it's like he's had so many good movies. for the most part, and like
Mm-hmm.
Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. So it's just like I didn't add it to my list because I was like, it's kind of unfair. Because like you made a really good point because you're like, I could literally make half this list Spider-Man
Mine
movies.
is half this list, so.
Yeah, so.
But I'm also a diehard Spider-Man fan, so
I-
I'm
no,
like,
if
to me,
you-
I'm like, they just have to be in
Yeah.
there.
I love the character, but I was also kind of going about it like my favorite interpretations or like because like that's just the Spider-Man movies are already kind of goated for me that I don't feel the need to put them in.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because like we all know Spider-Man 2, one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Spider-Man 1, in my opinion, one of the best superhero and fight scenes of all time that I still go back and rewatch to this day. And theme. The theme, as soon as the theme starts and the logo starts coming, and then you get the beginning credits. Oh, love it.
I don't know how they didn't make your list, but all right.
Yeah.
What's your number 10?
Hold on. X-Men First Class is one that I was
okay.
gonna put on my list. Days of Future Past is on there too. X2.
Great movies, yo.
I'm gonna put in the Wolverine too in my honorable mentions because I really liked a majority of the movie.
The Wolverine one where he's in Japan?
Yeah.
Interesting. I remember him shitting on it. All right.
You remember me shitting on it?
Yeah.
I said I enjoy 80% of the movie. I still love 80% of that movie, just not the end. But yeah, my top 10 is
Let's go with the program.
number 10, Kick-Ass.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Kick-Ass.
Damn. I actually kind of wish I put it on my list.
Kick-Ass 1 holds such a special place in my heart. It's this weird rated R version of Spider-Man that I fucking love. It's relatable. I think we've all been in Dave Lazuski's shoes where you're like, you kind of have daydreamt about being a superhero and you're like, you know what? If I put on a suit, I can fight crime. You know? Hey Girl's iconic. Fucking Big Daddy, Nicolas Cage, one of his best roles.
I want to rewatch this now.
It's just so well directed. It's funny. It's gritty, and yeah, man. I just if you're not a superhero fan, you could really enjoy Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
I think
agree. Actually,
it's way ahead of its time.
mm-hmm.
Like you watch Kick-Ass now, I think it's more relevant than ever because
Yeah.
it does a lot of what movies do now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I agree.
So yeah,
great.
Kick-Ass is number 10.
I wish I would have had it on my list now, but anyways, I'm gonna jump into my number 9. We got the OG Deadpool, the 2016. I mean, we were arguing about it a few minutes ago. I love Deadpool. I mean, my first introduction to him wasn't from Origins, X-Men Origins. I know a lot of people didn't like that take, but me as a little wee lad, I loved it. I thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
But me now knowing what the actual character is, I'm like, yeah, that was a terrible take.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think a lot needs to be said about Deadpool. I mean, it's a great fucking movie on its own. Ryan Reynolds really pushed for it. You know what I mean? I think it's a great fucking movie. I think it's a masterpiece, personally. So all these movies I'm listing, I think are masterpieces. So,
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I think it was
I
awesome.
don't disagree, man. My number 9, Man of Steel. Man of Steel made my list
movie.
because I'm also going based off feelings I felt after watching the movie. I will never forget where I was and where I watched Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Man of Steel at the Mount Hood Theater.
Yep. For you guys that don't know, I also watched it there. We might have been in the same movie theater. It's like just like a mom and pop type movie theater.
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah. And I went there and, oh man, I was just in awe. I had never been a Superman fan to begin with, even
same.
as a kid.
I
I
agree.
was always attracted to other characters. Batman, Spider-Man,
Yep.
Wolverine, Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of thought Superman was a bit of a puss. I was like, I don't
Yeah,
like
I
it.
agree.
And to be fair, I also didn't read anything in there. I didn't go out of my way because, kids were stubborn.
Yeah.
Man of Steel really, oh my God. I still tear up.
It was always the
Watching
Superman I wanted.
Yeah, and, the bit where he goes up to his dad and he finds out he's an alien. He's like, can I just keep pretending I'm your son? And he hugs him. He's like, you are my son. I'm like, oh, tears, and the fight scenes. I know a lot of people complain about it's too much or something, but this is like day one of him being Superman, which makes complete sense. He doesn't know how to control himself.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that, because I've always felt that same way.
Because it's like, bro, he literally just got this suit.
Mm-hmm.
He just got the suit. He just learned to fly.
Yeah.
And you want him to be able to no, that's insane.
Hold back his punches where he doesn't go
he doesn't know how.
flying
Plus,
through.
he's fighting people of his race.
Yeah.
How the fuck is he gonna be able to hold back?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I've always agreed with that, because I'm like, like I said, for me, or I agree with him. This is always the Superman that I wanted. This is always the Superman where I'm like, he should be going through walls and everything. But also, on the other case, he did just get his fucking powers. He doesn't know how to hold back yet. He doesn't know how to maintain collateral damage, you know?
But you also see the fucking powerhouse he is. You're like, oh, this is why you need Superman in the Justice League.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, man. And also the score, amazing. I felt exhilarated at the end. I was like, I want to rewatch that. I listened to the score after I fucking watched the movie. No, I love that movie experience.
I think it's definitely one of Zack Snyder's best movies.
I agree. For sure. I agree. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is the Batman 2022. It's a great fucking movie.
We might as well go together because that's my number 8.
Oh, fuck yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're right on page. I mean, to me, I love that it was more of like a detective style. Like you're there with him. You're seeing him be an actual detective. And this is like, I think.
And he doesn't even have a lot of like this crazy James Bond tech.
I love
where he's really just using his brain
and his own way.
And he's kind of showing that he's smarter than everyone else. Although I will say one nitpick, he should know Spanish. How the fuck did he not know what the you know what part I'm talking about in the movie?
I do.
That's dumb. He should know Spanish. Not my bad. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, dude, and Robert Pattinson shut every hater up.
Yep.
We started to be optimistic because we're like, we can't be dicks. We should really just wait and see. After the test footage happened, we're like, okay, yeah.
He looked great in the suit.
He looked great. He had the chin. I am gonna defend this movie in terms of like, I heard, not like casuals kind of be like, whoa, but this Batman's kind of a fucking edgelord. He's kind of a pussy. You know, he's really, you know, he's not the suave Bruce Wayne that Michael Keaton or Christian Bale, right? Yeah, because this is like Batman Year 2, bro. He's literally the director took inspiration from Kurt Cobain, and Kurt Cobain was constantly just holding himself up in his fucking place. And dude, he's showering, he's taking care of himself, but he's not living.
Yeah,
that's the thing he's not doing. His living is just being Batman, and the whole movie is him learning how to live again and be better than he was. And I fucking love it, dude.
Yeah,
I
good. Think it's such a good fucking movie.
Action sequences are fun too. The car chase scene.
Yes, it's awesome.
Oh, the score, the score. Oh man,
so good. I can't say enough good things about the Batman.
Yeah, and the only thing I would want from a sequel is like maybe a little more action packed. Other than that, let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, That's agree.
I mean, I love it.
You're not getting it. We're both in agreement. That's our number 8. So do you just want me to go into my next one then?
Yeah.
So I put these two because I didn't want mine to be flooded with Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. Again, yeah. My favorite superheroes has always been Spider-Man, Batman. Like that's always been 1-2. I know, very, very fucking casual. But I put these two together. It's the Spideyverse films. I think they're fucking masterpieces. I think it shows what animation nowadays can and should be. Super colorful.
Yeah.
You're being very vibrant, doing these out there type of comic, panel type things. You know what I mean? Like you're bringing it to life. Like someone like my parents that are not like always been like, oh, I love all the superhero movies and everything. They like them. You know what I mean? Like they've always like, that's a cartoon.
Yeah.
But no, this is an animated movie.
Like animation is film.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be its own narrative story that is, can be a little bit of a tearjerker at times. Like I think both of them are masterpieces. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about the Spideyverse films, honestly. That's why
I don't disagree.
That's why I just put them to do because I didn't want it to just fill out the list.
Well, it's also like the overarching narrative is
and they're
connected.
very connected too.
So it's I agree.
Yeah.
My number 7 is The Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier is a movie that I love the Cap movies, and I love the Cap movies when it's kind of just him and his little roster. I agree. The Winter Soldier was a really good reintroduction. I wasn't expecting. I was like, who the fuck is this? Fucking kicking people, fighting George St. Pierre.
Literally killing. Like, he will not hesitate to kill you.
And I love, but also he's a good man. He is a man just trying to be good for the sake of being good. He's a lot like that Superman character. He's a lot like Superman in the terms that they're both Boy Scouts, that they will both do the right thing even if no one is looking. And I love that. I thought that was a perfect interpretation. Chris Evans kills it. That speech at the end that he gives like against Hydra, like that shit'll hype me up.
Yeah.
If Cap gives me a fucking motivational speech, let's go to war. Like I'll do it. I'll do whatever he wants. You know.
Yeah.
The emotional stakes too. Not ever giving up on his friend. You know, like I love that, and he even won him over at the end. You know how it goes. So yeah, dude, Winter Soldier number 7.
No
love
arguments here. Coming in at. Wait, are you sure this is number 7? I think this is number 5, isn't it?
No, we're at 6.
No, you're right. You're right. My next one is Watchmen. I love Watchmen. The director's cut in particular, I think it's a masterpiece. I think this is Zack Snyder's best film. Dude, I think it's a masterpiece. I mean, that's what it is. It's so good. He's the one that showed it to me, and I'm happy he showed me the director's cut. You know what I mean? So, shit, it's a good ass movie. Yeah, I want to rewatch it. I've been wanting to rewatch it. It's just, it's something I need to get around to.
There's a Watchmen game.
A game?
Yeah, that came out during the release of the movie.
I did not know that.
Wasn't
good.
Any
good? Okay.
No, not worth it.
Is it like a side scroller or something?
It's like a really shitty. It's just not worth buying. Yeah, it's just not worth buying.
Hey, if you haven't seen Watchmen, watch it.
it.
Watch the director's cut. If with Zack Snyder, you almost always want to watch the director's cut.
Almost always, you always want to watch a director's cut of Zack Snyder's movies because that's most likely what he wanted to go for.
Great fucking movie.
Yeah. Not gonna argue there. My number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Great movie.
Love that movie.
That should have been in my honorable mentions. Fuck.
Guardians of the Galaxy is a movie that just blew me away because I wasn't expecting to have that much of a fun time.
Yeah.
Ever since then I've been a fucking Star-Lord fanboy.
Oh my god, he loves. Dude, he replayed the game like 20 times. He's like, I can't stop playing it. It's so good.
It's I mean, just the character moments, the Star-Lord bit. I
also feel like the game explores him a bit more in a
better.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of what they chose to do with Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with his changing his father and changing his origin a bit to be a Celestial. It's fine though. I still liked Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 a lot, but number 1 is still just it for me. So it's the best Guardians of the Galaxy movie in my opinion because it introduces the characters, it gives them stakes, it makes them likable. They're just a ragtag bunch of fucking misfits that are like, we have to save the world. Nobodies
that turned into somebodies.
Yes, perfectly said, man. Yep. Perfectly said.
Coming up into my next one is The Dark Knight. I don't think a lot needs to be said. A lot of people agree that it's one of the best movies of all time, and it's my favorite Batman movie of all time. It's so fucking good.
I feel so bad that I didn't put that into my honorable mentions. None of the Dark Knight movies are in my top 10.
I love the whole trilogy, but obviously The Dark Knight is the best one. It's so good. I mean, I know a lot of people have done their own video essays about it. You can watch a billion of them.
I'll probably do one eventually.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot needs to be said. It's a fucking great fucking movie. His counterpart, who he shared the screen with, is awesome. So it's
Ledger's
great.
Joker is just iconic. Yeah,
so good.
I don't disagree. It's a fucking amazing comic book movie. And it's almost disrespectful to say it's a comic book movie.
Well, it launched a whole subgenre of everyone tried to copy it, and we need to be dark and edgy now. You know what I mean? Like everyone wanted to be that essentially. So yeah, it was so fucking good. And watching that as a young kid in the movie theaters and just the whole score of it. This is what made me love Christopher Nolan. His trilogy. Because I was like, this movie's so fucking awesome. I need to follow up and see what his other movies are. Then he proceeded to come out with Inception and all these great fucking movies that I love.
And it's crazy that you were basically still a kid then, and you were still
2008,
and you were still amazed at this movie because it's a very mature movie. Yeah. It's not like a fucking Marvel movie where it's like at least a little bit geared towards kids. I
remember my neighbors that lived in front of me. They were very like, they went to church and everything. And I think we went together, or we just happened to be at the same movie theater or something.
Okay.
And I remember them being like disgusted. Yeah, they were like, this is Batman. How could you have a Joker like that be so cynical and evil? How could you portray that on the screen like that? And I'm like, lady, you just don't understand the character.
Yeah.
I was like, what the
fuck?
You're
like, you're mad at that bad guy for being bad?
Yeah, exactly.
You're mad at the bad guy for
funny.
doing
I just remember, like, because like my parents always just let me gotta watch movies whenever I wanted. Like I was watching T2 at like 5 years old. You know what I mean? Like it's just,
As every other 5-year-old should.
yeah, exactly. But you know what I mean? Like my perception of things, I always thought it was just a good movie. I didn't think of it as like this. I don't know, like how this lady saw it. I guess like super dark and like, oh my god, my children shouldn't be watching this.
Yeah. That was your 5?
Yes.
Okay, my number 5 is Justice League, the Snyder cut.
So good.
I
should have put that in my honorable mentions.
Yeah, dude. Every Snyder fan got what they wanted when the Snyder cut came out. We didn't ever think we were gonna see it, and yet we all banded together, and we got it. I'm super happy. I think that this is probably what Warner Brothers should have put out instead of the Justice League.
Oh yes.
I don't have much else to say. Like I love it. I can sit down.
Movie.
I could watch it. It feels like an epic saga, like an epic, like a Lord of the Rings, dude, even like
I feel like it was a masterclass.
Yeah,
to be honest.
honestly,
like, I just feel like it was him being like, put up or shut up type deal. He's like, that you're giving me an opportunity. I'm gonna show you.
Yeah,
and I think he killed it, man. I mean, because me going into it, my expectations were fucking the lowest it could possibly
probably none.
be. They were, actually, there probably were none. And then watching it, I was like blown away. I was like, how did Warner Brothers drop the ball so bad to where they did not release this? That was my whole thing.
Well,
like,
we do
how
know
did they not release it?
There is a whole story with Zach.
Well,
and
I
why
know
he had
there
to
is a
leave.
whole story, but what I mean is like, you know what I mean. Like I'm just saying, like how could they not let it breathe and let the whole situation fill out to where like, okay, this is the we have to put trust in this person. You know what I mean? Like that's what I think the biggest thing is. They just didn't trust and they were too rushed to just try to put it out. And I think you just let it breathe. Okay, you push things back. You have a lot of personal things happening at that time period for Zach. Let it breathe, and you get a masterpiece. This is what happens when you. I consider it a masterpiece.
I don't disagree. I think it's so good. I think if you watch Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and then Justice League, it's a very good overarching narrative. So yeah, man. Obviously, nothing else to say. Love it.
And then my next up, I have Winter Soldier. I think one of if someone was to say it's the best Marvel movie, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not. It's that good fucking movie. I know he touched on it. Again, just to reiterate, I mean, just the fucking fight scenes in there are awesome. The choreography is awesome. Also, I just love that it's way more grounded. Like it's a spy thriller. You know what I mean? It's deception.
They do. If you're gonna put a lot of edits in a fight scene, they do it properly. They do it in a way where you still see the action, and I fucking appreciate it.
Yeah, everything's gritty, and everything's more like grounded between him and Bucky. You feel like they're friends. Like you feel like this is like you feel what Cap is feeling, what Steve is feeling. Like why can I get through to him? I know who he is. I love that.
I have a theory. If a superhero movie makes you feel like you want to be that character at the end of the movie, they did a good job.
Yes.
Because after I watched Winter Soldier, I was like, I want to be Captain America.
Because another point is like, to me, before the first Avenger, because obviously that was my first introduction to Captain America.
I actually really fucking liked the first Avenger.
Yeah, the first Avenger is really good. But what I'm trying to say, like to your point exactly, is that my thought of Captain America was like the dude with the shield, like him, the dude in the stripes,
blue,
like
blue, red, and white.
Yeah, like, I always thought it was just dumb. Like I was like, no one's like, how can anyone like that character? And what Marvel did with him just shut me up, made me a huge fan of Cap. Something I never, like if you would have asked me in like, what was it, like 2008, I would have been like, no, Captain America sucks.
Yeah, if you would have told me in 2008 that my favorite Avenger is Captain America, I'd have been like, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are the Avengers?
Like I said, Winter Soldier, I think is the best Cap movie. And I think if someone was to say they think it's the greatest superhero movie of all time, I wouldn't disagree at all. No arguments here from me.
Okay. I have in my number 4 an event. We actually just rewatched this. I think you know what I'm talking about.
This is my number 3, so it's good.
Infinity War.
Yeah,
Infinity War is a fucking event. That each time I watch it, the score, Josh Brolin as Thanos. There are a couple nitpicks as I rewatched it. I was like, wait, why didn't you just do that? You know, it is what it is though.
Star
Like,
Lord. Star Lord fucked everything up.
Oh, okay, but like,
Oh,
I'm
no,
gonna
now that's his
defend
favorite
my boy
character.
Star Lord. Okay,
He's like, oh,
he's
I
been
some
through
nitpicks.
a lot.
I agree. It's been through a lot.
Okay, here's the thing I can't say that criticizes him though. He is not capable of handling his emotions very well. That's why I sympathize with it. That's why I know he fucked up. He fucked up by hitting Thanos. He could have waited to get his licks in. I absolutely agree. But this isn't a character that is emotionally intelligent enough to hold back. I can admit that.
I agree. I agree. I don't disagree.
I don't think, to be honest, I think that the Star-Lord that is in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 would probably not, would definitely not do that.
I agree with that.
So, you know, it's growth.
It's a young Peter Quill.
Yeah. Well, it's also like this dude, for the most part of his life, has been so fucking selfish.
Oh yeah, he grew up with the Ravagers.
Yeah, you know,
so.
And then he banded
I do
out,
agree with that, but like again, he fucked up.
He fucked it up, but I'm defending him because he's human. Okay, he's part human. Okay.
But yeah, it's such a good fucking movie. I mean, it's one of those movies where you really just had to be there. Like you had to be there. Having to wait a whole fucking year to see what they were gonna do next.
Getting edged for a whole fucking year.
Yes.
Not letting Marvel not letting us finish.
Yeah,
it's like Marvel was just holding on. Yeah, and it was like, yeah, you want to?
Are you? Do you want me to tickle the balls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guess what? You're gonna wait. You know.
Don't worry, you're gonna get a fist in your ass at the end.
And boy, do you get it, bro? Because when everyone starts fading away, you're like, and then you still get sad when you see Spider-Man fucking go away.
We like he said, we just rewatched it. Watching Spider-Man, be like, Stark, I don't want to go.
I don't want to go.
It's so like, oh my god, I'm like, because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Every time I'll be like, oh my god, dude.
Dude, were you in shock when you first saw that?
Dude, when I first saw it, I literally had a tear. I'm not gonna lie, I had a fucking tear. Because like I said, it started in 2008, builds all the way through to this moment. It's literally a moment. Yeah. It's a fucking event, and seeing it being Stark, obviously, him being with Stark, you feel it just that much more in him.
Yeah.
And he's just speechless, and you're like, I'm speechless too, bro. Yeah. Like it's just one of those things, man. It was so fucking good.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Yeah, man.
That was my number 3, so that's why I just want to jump into it. So you can just go to your number 3 now.
Okay, my number 3 is Logan.
Okay, this is my number 2.
My number 3. I mean, man, I don't know what else I need to say about this movie that hasn't already been said. It's
the score,
so good.
I love like the slight westerny, like
the piano. I love the theme.
Good.
I listen to it still to this day.
So do
I. The performances, Daphne King as X-23, and
unintentionally funny too. Like when she starts speaking Spanish, like
I
remember the fucking
whole theater laughing,
just laughing because it's so unexpected.
Yeah, he's like, you could talk. Oh, I love it. I do.
It's so good.
Yeah, man.
And I love the whole premise of Xavier having like a fucking seizure so much that it cripples. The
every mutant,
yeah, and that's such a cool thing that I don't know if it's in the comics. I don't know if it's
fucking tragic.
But I thought it was such a cool concept and such a cool idea that they expanded on in a super nice way. And plus, I love that it's like set in like, I think it was Mexico, so it's like dusty and dirty, and it's just like, I don't know, the whole tone and everything is just so good, so good.
I agree, man. Love it. It's amazing.
Like I said, I think it's one of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
I don't disagree because you could make the hard argument that it doesn't. If it doesn't feel like a superhero movie, that's its best quality.
Yep.
Where you're like, this was a film.
It was a film. It really was.
So what's your number 1 then? If that was your number 2?
Well, you need to go to your number 2 because you just did your number 3.
Okay. Well, my number 2 is Watchmen.
Oh, okay.
It's a little higher on my list just because I've watched the director's cut. I love it. It's visually beautiful. It made me read the comic book, the graphic novel, and love it even more. One of Zack Snyder's best films, obviously.
I think it is his best film.
Yeah, dude. I don't have much to say besides
good.
Fucking.
If you haven't watched it,
watch the director's cut.
Yeah, watch the director's cut.
Watch the director's cut.
And just to reiterate, like honestly, my top 5, you could interchange any one of these, and you're not gonna get any argument from me.
Any of these movies, even the honorable mentions, if I watch it, it'll go to my 1.
Yeah, recency bias is
gonna
recency
bias is gonna fucking get me.
Man of Steel is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, exactly. So but check any of these out if you haven't. You will thoroughly enjoy them. So what's your number
So
one?
my number one is Spider-Man 2,
Okay.
2005, the Sam Raimi. I think a lot of people agree it's the greatest Spider-Man film of all time. It's one of the greatest Spider-Man movie or superhero movies of all time. I mean, the whole premise of him dropping the suit and trying to be human and the suit calling back to him, realizing his Call of Duty is so awesome.
Yeah.
Me as a kid, like just watching it was just like made me want to be Spider-Man even more. You know what I mean? Because it was just, I think Spider-Man is one of those characters that's just so relatable because you can have your own instances of feeling the feelings that he feels.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, he's a superhero.
The weight of the world is on your shoulders, and you can relate to that in a way that I
Well,
get what
I'm
you're
more
saying.
saying like, you know, like just tragedy in your life, but also having to push forward and be something more. Like those type of things where it's like you can relate to that because it's gonna happen to everyone.
You're like, I'm gonna be like you.
Exactly.
And dude, I think Spider-Man 2 was the first superhero movie that recreated a comic panel in a shot.
Yep, I think so too.
Because the shot of the Spider-Man suit in the garbage, beautiful, man, beautiful. So, yeah, dude, that's crazy to think about. Actually, no, but I don't disagree. I will never argue with someone that says that they think that Spider-Man 2 is the greatest superhero movie of all time.
And I
really can't.
Yeah, and I always loved when they were like when him and Doc Ock were like falling from the building and it goes quiet and you just hear the like this. So with those early Spider-Man movies, just the
when they threw hands.
Yes, it was so
they threw
impactful.
hands. Yeah, they were through hands. They weren't fighting fucking drones.
Exactly.
They weren't fucking. Sorry, I just have,
he went on a tangent about Far From Home.
I have those are my biggest gripes. That's why I like No Way Home's fight scenes.
Yeah,
they improved when he fought Green Goblin those 2 times.
That was epic.
Need more of that, please.
But yeah, that's my number one. I really don't think a lot of people will disagree. So
do you think? What do you think my number one is?
I feel like it's Deadpool because he hasn't mentioned Deadpool at all.
It is Deadpool. It is Deadpool. Actually, it is extremely Deadpool. I'm gonna just
maximum effort.
Yeah, dude, so iconic, so quotable, hilarious. It's a role Ryan Reynolds was born to play.
Yes.
Again, I've followed this movie since I became a Deadpool fan through the comic books after my introduction to him in Origins as well. And then, again, I read the original script of that first movie. And then, obviously, that's not what they put out, but it was very similar. Yeah, man. I don't know what else I can say other than Deadpool
so
is
good.
It's also so comic accurate.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a morally gray guy, but deep down he is a good guy. He won't do that shitty things.
Yeah.
But he will do the things that benefit him the most, which I completely understand.
The perfect anti-hero.
Yeah, and the tragic backstory with him being scarred and just having to live with that was really intense. There was an awesome deleted scene I wish they never deleted where Ryan Reynolds and his girlfriend go to Mexico to go to a cheaper doctor there. And it's this witch doctor who's taking people's tumors away. He's a scam artist who's just taking money from them. And he literally sees him like faking the entire thing. And he literally fucking kills him. And then the crowd starts, like, he didn't realize there's a whole crowd watching him. And this hallway is just filled with blood. He just brutally murdered this guy. In a very brutal manner. And Vanessa sees him. And she like sees him, and like that was originally the last time they were gonna see each other because he's like, she saw me for who I really am, this killer. Tell me that doesn't sound awesome.
I wish they would have kept that. Actually.
Yeah, dude. So
I didn't even know about that.
So
I think I've seen a bunch of clips of it, but like, I don't know, never watched it fully.
Yeah. I think that's all we have today.
Yeah.
For
if you guys are new here, consider subscribing. We greatly appreciate it.
Okay. Hasta luego.
Until next time, peace.